This is News 8 Now, this morning.
Whether it's burning forests or burning fossil fuels, we know that the fine particles in this pollution is really damaging to health. It crosses the lungs into the bloodstream and can damage most parts of the body, even crossing the placenta and damaging fetuses.
I mean, opioid addiction is such a huge concern for our community, and our goal is to really take a systems approach to equip people within our community to help solve those needs.
It's a combo project. Souls, it's for the solar power. So it's bringing more awareness to the schools for solar. We've already put on 225 kilowatts of solar on elementary schools in the district, and this is just another project that we're excited about.
Good morning, everyone, and that was your morning eye opener. I'm Jeremy Wall.
And I'm Derek Sibley.
It's Friday, June 30th, 2023. And Derek, how are things looking outside? You know, we've seen the air quality out there. What can you tell us?
Well, you know, right now we are under those air quality alerts again, Jeremy, until around noon today. The smoke from the Canadian wildfires is still causing problems here for some of us, especially those of us that may be sensitive to this type of stuff. But regardless whether you're sensitive or not, it's not the time to be outside between now and noon because of the air quality index is expected to reach unhealthy levels here for us. And our current temperatures are, you know, in the 60s. Some spots are in the 50s further east. Black River Falls and Sparta and Volkfield, perfect examples of that, ranging between 54 to 56. Winona is currently at 63, Boscobel at 63, and we are seeing mostly clear skies across the area now with just a few passing clouds. It's pretty much in the forecast today. Just a mix of clouds and sun. Temperatures in the 70s this morning, and then we're into the 80s this afternoon. Highs into the upper 80s to low 90s with some clouds there as we head into later today. So as we get a check now on your allergy reports, grass and weed is low, mold is on the medium side. Same forecast for tomorrow. No grass pollen on the latest air sample here, however. Now stay tuned. I'll have a check on your backyard forecast plus your full weather forecast coming up in a few minutes, and we'll talk about what this weekend and next week could be shaping out to be. Jeremy?
Thanks, Derek. Let's get to some news this morning. A La Crosse man is facing charges of possession of child sexual assault materials along with possession of metamethine. According to a criminal complaint, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children sent police a tip about 34-year-old Parker Barnes. He was arrested by La Crosse police before his shift at the YMCA. In an email obtained by News 8 Now, the YMCA stated a part-time employee was arrested on suspicion of having child sexual assault materials. In the email, Y officials said Barnes had passed background checks when he was hired last September. He's no longer employed at the Y. Barnes first appeared in court Wednesday and will be back next Wednesday. According to online records, he is not in jail at this time. La Crosse police continue to investigate the car crash that happened on South Avenue, and they're asking for the public's help. Police are asking anyone who helped the officers at the scene to contact the police department at the number you see on your screen. Authorities say they will release more information about the crash when it's available. The city of La Crosse is getting a little boost to clean up around town. The city has been awarded with a $20,000 grant from AARP as part of a nationwide program to make communities more livable. La Crosse was one of 6 projects awarded throughout the state of Wisconsin. The city of La Crosse Parks, Recreation, and Forestry Department plans to use the funds to revitalize portions of Cass Street from West Avenue to 3rd Avenue. A new bus shelter will also be built along Cass Street. La Crosse's bus system is introducing a safer alternative for people with disabilities. News 8 Now's Michael Germain got a first-hand look at the new system on buses that makes rides safer for people using wheelchairs.
For people who use wheelchairs, getting around town can be complicated. La Crosse's MTU is working to make transportation easier.
This is a new system. It's called Quantum, and it's a safer system and more independence for the person in the wheelchair.
Passengers park their wheelchair against a backrest, which starts an automatic locking system. The Quantum arms secure the wheelchair in place and can be adjusted during the ride.
It's proven to be safer for people in wheelchairs.
Once the bus gets to a stop, the driver releases the passenger using a button on their dashboard.
Don't have to rely on the driver. The driver doesn't go in their personal space as much.
This is something I really wanted to see because there's people that say, hey, you can't get around on the buses.
community members say there's no other system like it.
There's buses that don't even have that for us to get around. So it's nice to have buses that are able to be handicap accessible for people.
The system is only on 2 buses right now, but there are plans to expand. MTU officials say you'll see it on every city bus within the next few months. Viterbo University has been awarded a grant to expand training for substance use disorder treatments. The $1.4 million grant will let Viterbo work with current health professionals to provide mental health and substance use disorder services in communities that are underserved. Viterbo plans on using the grant to primarily service rural areas in southwestern Wisconsin. School representatives say this is a huge step forward in helping the community.
I mean, opioid addiction is such a huge concern for our community, and our goal is to really take a systems approach to equip people within our community to help solve those needs.
Viterbo also plans on using the grant to train their own faculty so that instructors can include the training in their curriculum. The grant program is set to last for 5 years. Summit Elementary could soon be teaching classes outside. The school hosted a planning event to discuss ideas for an outdoor classroom powered by solar energy. The proposed structure would be a wood-framed structure shaped like a canopy. The structure would also have an array of solar panels to help generate electricity for the classroom. Leaders of the project said this would be a great opportunity for students.
It's a gazebo that's going to have a solar array that'll be on top of it, where kids can come in, sit down, enjoy a little bit of shade, but also they can plug in to, let's say, run their electronic devices, to be able to do iPads and do projects for science activities and math and everything.
Volunteers for Solar on Lacrosse Schools, or SOLS for short, said this project helps shine a light on solar power.
It's a combo project. SOLS, it's for the solar power. So it's bringing more awareness to the schools for solar. We've already put on 225 kilowatts of solar on elementary schools in the district, and this is just another project that we're excited about.
The group is almost halfway toward their $100,000 goal for 2023. To donate or for more information, we'll have a link to our website at news8000.com. Still ahead on your morning news, a favorite condiment is experiencing serious supply shortages, causing prices to increase. And another small step has led to a giant leap. We'll take a look at the Virgin Galactic's first edge of space flight with passengers on board. That and more coming up this morning. For now, we're sending you to break with something to put the good in your morning. A new business in London called the Ice Cream Project is selling ice cream with some very unusual flavors. We're talking flavors like Heinz tomato ketchup, KP salted peanuts, and Kellogg's Rice Krispies. This summer concept store has been a hit with customers. The Ice Cream Project will be open until August 27th. Don't go anywhere. Your consumer news at News 8 Now this morning is after the break.
Well, we are looking at some air quality alerts that continue for the area until around noon today. And as you can see, this is in effect because of all that wildfire smoke that's currently going on across the area here currently. And we do have those temperatures that are into the 60s and low 70s here as you head out the door this morning. Mostly sunny skies for the morning, followed by some partly cloudy skies into the afternoon, and also as we head into the early evening. Current temperature readings are into the 50s and 60s right now. We got 63 in Eau Claire, 67 degrees is the temperature in La Crosse. Underneath mainly clear skies here this morning, just a few passing clouds here, however. Your zone forecast today showing that our highs will be reaching the upper 80s and at low 90s. 90 today in Berry Mills with that high of about 87 in West Salem today, 88 in Holmen, and 84 down south in Viroqua, 87 in Soldiers Grove, and 85 in Lansing. Meanwhile, in Arcadia today, you'll be at 87 degrees, 87 today in Trempealeau, and 86 in Osseo. In the Chippewa Valley, you're looking at highs mainly into the mid-80s with 87 today in Eau Claire. As far as your backyard forecasts go, we are looking at a pretty hot day today, 90 degrees under some partly cloudy weather conditions. But stay tuned, I'll have a check on your full weather forecast coming up in a few minutes.
All right, thanks, Derek. And your consumer news this morning. First, it was eggs. Now it's a popular hot sauce. Prices of the hot sauce Sriracha are through the roof because of supply problems. On eBay, a 28-ounce bottle is selling for nearly $70. Sriracha's manufacturer says the company has had a shortage of the key ingredient, the spicy chili peppers, for the past 3 years. A spokesperson says they're trying to fix the shortage, but in the meantime, they have no idea when supplies will catch up with demand. For the July 4th holiday weekend, you could get some beer almost free. Bud Light is offering a rebate of up to $15 on a 15-pack of Budweiser, Bud Light, Budweiser Select, or Budweiser Select 55. That could amount to practically free beer in areas where a 15-pack sells for less than $15. The offer is good on purchases made before July 8th. It comes as the brand continues to battle a right-wing boycott and declining sales after it partnered with a transgender influencer. America's debt will climb to a record high toward the end of the decade. That's according to the Congressional Budget Office. According to the CBO, U.S. public debt will climb from 98% of gross domestic product at the end of this year to 107% in 2029. The spike is expected despite the debt limit deal Congress reached this year to lower the federal deficit. The nonprofit group Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget believes the debt will be about $36 trillion in 2029. Virgin Galactic joined the commercial space race with its very first flight carrying paying customers. Danya Backus reports on the launch and the mission.
3, 2, 1, release, release, release.
This is the moment when Virgin Galactic's rocket-powered plane released from the mothership in the latest leap for humankind.
Ignition, good control.
Rather than a vertical launch, a twin fuselage jet lifted the Unity space plane from the New Mexico runway and carried it to an altitude over 45,000 feet before releasing it to fly on its own. A built-in motor then propelled the ship to an altitude higher than 50 miles from Earth.
Our mission specialists have been cleared to unstrap and enjoy the zero-G experience.
Along with the two pilots and an astronaut trainer were the paying customers, 3 Italian researchers who spoke after the flight.
We did all the experiments that we were supposed to run, and we also had the opportunity to look outside and really enjoy the beauty of the view outside.
Virgin Galactic has said it plans to charge $450,000 per seat for out-of-this-world tourism.
Up to 4 passengers can be anything from space tourists to researchers, university endeavors, things like that. So really it's a matter of making money.
After the 72-minute total flight, the VSS Unity spaceplane came back to Earth.
And there's Will Stop.
Now joining Blue Origins and SpaceX, Virgin plans to offer monthly flights and already has hundreds of ticket holders waiting for their moment in space.
During the mission, the crew performed microgravity experiments during their few minutes of weightlessness. The Italian government sponsored the flight, but there's no word on how much it paid. That's it for your morning consumer news. Let's check in with Derek and today's forecast. Derek.
All right, thanks for that, Jeremy. We're looking at air quality alerts that continue for the Cooley region until noon today. Meanwhile, in La Crosse, we're at 67 degrees, mostly cloudy skies. Winds right out of the south at 6 miles an hour. In Eau Claire, 63 degrees. Southwest winds here are light at around 3 miles an hour. Our current temperatures are mainly into the 60s. Some spots, Black River Falls, Sparta, and Volkfield into the 50s, though. We got 65 in Viroqua, 63 in Boscobel, and 63 is the temperature currently in Winona. Let's get checked now on your planner. 71 degrees, mostly sunny skies at 7, 84 and partly cloudy by noon today. And then we're turning hot today around 4 o'clock this afternoon. 90 degrees, mostly sunny, followed by 82 degrees under partly cloudy skies by 8 o'clock this evening. And forecast highs today into those mid to upper 80s. However, I am forecasting some spots to reach 90, such as La Crosse County today, 89 if you're in Boscobel this afternoon. However, mostly clear skies right now on our satellite and radar, and you can see the majority of those thicker clouds are mainly down to the south of us. However, we could definitely use the rain around here. This new drought monitor just came in yesterday. I do want to go ahead and show you it again today, and you can see this moderate drought condition across much of the Cooley region. A severe drought, however, is still ongoing across portions of our southern communities. And unfortunately, I'm just not really seeing a whole lot of rain here to work with. We may see some increasing clouds, however, with a slight chance of a shower here today. But I think for the most part, we're just going to be looking at some of that mix of sun and clouds, while the majority of the rain here this afternoon stays stays down to the south of us. Mostly clear skies as we head into the early this evening, followed by some passing clouds as we head into overnight tonight. Taking you into early tomorrow morning, got a couple of clouds that could make their way here across our southern communities again, and then just a mix of sun and clouds once again as we head into tomorrow afternoon. Watching that developing storm system take shape down to the south, causing some rain showers near Iowa and a couple of thunderstorms, but that is not going to be affecting us. However, we're just going to be looking at some of the clouds on the northern edge of that storm, and then by 11 o'clock tomorrow night, just looking at some clouds here, and the same can be said as we head into early on Sunday, while again most of the rain will stay down to the south and just some passing clouds here as we take you into the rest of the day on Sunday with just a slight chance of a shower or two. Let's get a check now on your 8-day forecast, and you can see that our highs will be into those upper 80s to low 90s over these next few days. Very slim chances of showers though. And as we head into Tuesday, that's probably when we'll see our next best chance of showers and some thunderstorms for the 4th of July holiday with a high of 95 degrees. And then looks like it could be turning pretty stormy on Wednesday, high of 86 there. We'll keep our eyes on that. But other than that, mixed clouds and sun, highs in the 80s, low 90s, and low temperatures in the 60s. All right, stay with us. We're back with much more news and weather still to come on News 8 Now this morning. We're taking a quick break with a look what happened on this day in history for June 30th. We'll be right back.
Welcome to the Blitz. It's been a busy week on the diamond for many of our area athletes. The Legion baseball season has been a lot of fun so far. The action continuing last night for a couple of our area squads in West Salem. Holman making the short trip. Post 284 putting up 6 in the 4th, adding to it in the 5th. Hayden Goodell chops 1 to 3rd. West Salem tries to turn 2. They can't. 1 runs in. Xavier Palmer is going to be thrown out at home, but Holman takes a 7-0 lead. Next inning, post 284 still at it. Jared Rotering high chopper to 3rd. That'll get another run in as Tyrus McCoy comes in to score. It's 9-0. But West Salem not going down without a fight. Parker DeMorris scorches a base hit in the left. Drew Anderson comes in to score. West Salem's on the board. Post 51 not done. William Schmidt slow roller to 3rd. Tough play can't be made. 2 runs come in. It's 9-3. But in the top of the 7th, Holman answers right back. Paul Gorel smokes a base hit the other way. That's going to play 2. Here comes Goodell to make it 11-3. Holman rolls in this one. They get the win, 15-5. On the gridiron, some more great news for Aquinas' Shane Willenbring. The senior's been busy this offseason, getting offers from all over the country. Air Force, Army, Wyoming, Bucknell. Willenbring even getting an offer from the Badgers as a preferred walk-on. But the 3-year Blue Gold starter has made up his mind. He'll be continuing his football career at South Dakota State. Willenbring has helped lead the Blue Goals to 2 Division V state titles. Now the standout left tackle is officially a future Jackrabbit. Another tough night for the Loggers. Lacrosse drops its 3rd straight game, 3-2 the final last night in St. Cloud. Loggers are back at the Lumberyard tonight to open up a 2-game set against Bismarck. Well, back in December of last year, 12-year pro J.J. Watt played his final game in the NFL, but now our viewers will get to see a lot more of the Wisconsin native when the season starts back up later this year. The Pewaukee grad and former Wisconsin Badger signing a multi-year deal to be an NFL studio analyst for CBS. Watt announcing the news on social media yesterday, saying he'll be joining CBS Sports to contribute across all their NFL shows and platforms. The 34-year-old defensive end played his final 2 seasons in Arizona after spending his first 10 years in the league with the Houston Texans. Watt was drafted 11th overall out of Wisconsin back in 2011, totaled 114.5 sacks in his career, earned the Defensive Player of the Year award on 3 separate occasions, 2012, 2014, and 2015. Watt was selected as the Walter Payton Man of the Year back in 2017, also had 5 first-team All-Pro honors during his time with the Texans. On the hardwood, for the first time in franchise history, the Bucs will have a female coach on the bench. In her 6th season with the team, Sydney Dobner is getting a promotion. After working as head video coordinator this past season, Dobner will now be the first female assistant coach in Bucs history. Dobner got her start in the organization as a video assistant and coaching associate with the Wisconsin Herd back in 2018. Series finale last night for the Mets and Brewers. Pick it up in the 3rd. No score in this one until Brett Beatty gets into one. He's going to give this one a ride to right, and this ball is not coming back. Mets strike first. They grab the lead. It's 1-0. Very next batter, Brandon Nimmo at the dish. He had 2 homers on Tuesday, adds another one last night, a laser the other way for a solo shot. That makes it 2-0 Mets. But here comes the crew in the 6th. 1 on for Victor Caratini. He's got Max Scherzer's number. Deep fly ball to center, and that one is gone. A game-tying 2-run blast makes it 2-2. Then in the 7th, bases full for Brian Anderson. This is going to get the job done. He drives one deep to right center. Willie Contreras comes in on the sac fly. It's 3-2. Devin Williams in to close it out. In some trouble late, but he gets the strikeout to end it. Brewers hang on. They make it 3 out of 4 over the Mets. 3-2 is your final. That's going to do it for the Blitz. We'll see you tonight.
Thank you for watching News 8 Now. Expect more.
This morning, we're looking deeper into the Supreme Court's ruling ending the way colleges and universities factor in an applicant's race when it comes to admissions. The vote was 6-3 in the case involving the University of North Carolina and 6-2 in the Harvard case. Jared Hill has the latest.
We won't go back. We won't go back. Dueling protests outside the Supreme Court Thursday. The court, powered by its conservative majority, ended the use of race-based affirmative action in college admissions.
It means that you cannot explicitly use race as a factor in admissions.
Writing for the majority, Chief Justice John Roberts said admissions policies at Harvard University and the University of North Carolina violated the 14th Amendment's Equal Protection Clause, saying in part, the student must be treated based on his or her experiences as an individual, not on the basis of race. In a scathing dissent, liberal Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, the first black woman on the court, wrote, with let them eat cake obliviousness, the majority pulls the ripcord and announces colorblindness for all by legal fiat. The cases were brought by conservative activist Edward Bloom's Students for Fair Admissions, arguing the schools discriminated against white and Asian applicants like Calvin Yang.
It is my hope to see a renewed college admission system that recognizes and rewards the multifaceted talents and diverse perspective that each individual can bring to the table.
Chief Justice Roberts wrote that universities can still consider the discussion of how race affected an applicant's life, say, in an essay. A notion, though, that Justice Sotomayor called nothing but an attempt to put lipstick on a pig. President Biden slammed the ruling.
This is not a normal court.
While Republicans praised the decision as ending discrimination.
President Biden says he's directed the Department of Education to develop guidelines for how schools can consider race while working within the law. The justices noted this ruling does not impact race-based affirmative action in U.S. military academies. The next biennial state budget is one step closer to reaching the governor's desk. The GOP-controlled budget committee's draft made it through the Senate and is expected to pass in the GOP majority assembly. Republicans are celebrating the proposed income tax cut of $3.5 billion. One GOP senator says the proposed tax cut would bring relief to all filers and get the state closer to a flat tax system. He says 2020 census data shows states with a flat tax convinced more people to move there.
I think the message is loud and clear. Wisconsin wants to be competitive. We need to ensure that we have a more competitive tax climate. And so the tax cut that we proposed last night touches every single taxpayer in the state of Wisconsin. So we believe it's a step in the right direction.
Democrats argue the state isn't taking advantage of a record one-time $7 billion surplus, and that to pay for the tax cut, products like UWL's Prairie Springs Science Center and childcare become budget casualties. Senator Brad Pfaff says his party agrees with the idea of a tax cut, but not this one.
I do not understand why someone would want to pass a tax reform in the state of Wisconsin in which the top 1% of the tax filers would receive 20% of the benefits.
Once the GOP majority assembly passes the budget, Governor Evers will have about a week to approve, fully veto, or line item veto the measure. The worst of politics, that's what the Senate Minority Leader called a Wednesday night decision by Senate Republicans. After the budget vote, Republican senators said the chamber will decide in the future whether to appoint Wisconsin's top election official for another term. Tuesday, the bipartisan Wisconsin Elections Commission deadlocked on formally nominating Megan Wolf for a second four-year term. Democrats on the commission say the Senate can't vote on a nomination that never got a majority vote. Senate Democrats aren't sure what's going to happen in the interim.
The state Senate, plans, we've been told, will potentially bring this up this fall.
Last year, the state Supreme Court ruled that a former Scott Walker appointee could stay in his role indefinitely, even after his term expired, and he refused to step down. Democrats argue that ruling should allow Wolf to do the same thing and stay on in the Elections Commission. Pfaff says he could expect some lawsuits to come out of this vote. The U.S. Senior Open in Stevens Point is happening this weekend. Golfers from across the country are taking part in the massive tournament. Noah Manderfeld was at the event.
Former U.S. Open champions, last year's reigning champion, and a future Hockey Hall of Famer were on hand for the final day of practices for the U.S. Senior Open. Let's start with that reigning champion. Padraig Harrington hit a practice round by himself today, and he is echoing what everyone is saying about the course. It's hard. In fact, he called it specifically a USGA event, not a Champions Tour event.
Do I like being, coming and finding a challenge as stern as this? Yeah, but it's certainly different from coming off regular events.
You'll hear it from time and time again. This rough is very thick. That's what makes it so difficult. Two-time U.S. Open champion Ernie Els knows a lot about that, and take it from him and his description of juicy.
I've played all my practice rounds in the mornings, so it's quite wet and very juicy. So I think it's going to remain like that for the rest of the week. It's very lush. We're playing a US Open, so you expect to have juicy rough.
One local celebrity was trading in his hockey stick for a golf club. That's the pride of Plover, Joe Pavelski. The Dallas Stars forward walked along fellow Madison people Steve Stricker and Jerry Kelly for a few holes as an ambassador for the tournament. But don't expect him to be taking any swings next to them this weekend.
These guys are good. We have an understanding what it takes, playing hockey, and so watch how good these guys are. They're night and days ahead of you.
Pavs will be here all week serving as an ambassador to the tournament. But now the real fun starts.
According to the USGA, over 3,000 people submitted entries for a chance to be in the competition. Well, with smoke and haze blanketing the region, unhealthy air quality is affecting about a third of the country. Local doctors say the smoke could be sticking around for the remainder of the summer. And while the hazy conditions may not seem like a threat, medical professionals are urging the public to stay cautious.
Whether it's burning forests or burning fossil fuels, we know that the fine particles in this pollution is really damaging to health. It crosses the lungs into the bloodstream and can damage most parts of the body, even crossing the placenta and damaging fetuses.
Officials recommend keeping your windows and doors closed and running AC throughout your home, but if you need to go out, then doctors say to check the air quality index and wear a mask. Mail carriers are already feeling the heat. One of the leaders for the National Association of Letter Carriers in Milwaukee said he's urging carriers to take breaks to rehydrate when they can, and also said he's worried for some of his carriers.
Air quality alerts continue now across the Coulee region. We were just talking about that here just a little while ago, and this is in effect until noon today. The particulates from the wildfire smoke are causing high levels of ozone and therefore unhealthy for those sensitive groups. So just bear that in mind here today. Current temperatures are in the 60s, 63 Winona, 67 La Crosse, 63 is the temperature. And clear in your forecast today overall, partly cloudy skies, turning hot though at that high of 90 today. West-northwest winds 5 to 10. Now for tonight, temperatures at 65 degrees, mostly cloudy, however seasonable with our temperatures there in the 60s. North-northeast winds light at 5 to 10 miles an hour. As of now, things are looking quiet. I got a couple of clouds down to the south. They're going to start to move our way here, and you'll notice that on the mowing forecast of the increasing clouds at around noon and also into this afternoon around 5 o'clock. Probably turning a little bit too hot though around 5 o'clock to mow, so your best bet is probably to do so better so into early into the day, especially this morning with temperatures in the 70s, and then as you can see the 80s here as we head around noon this afternoon. I would check on your weather forecast one more time coming up in a few minutes. We'll talk about this weekend is in store, plus what we can be looking at as we head into next week.
All right, before we head to break, it's time to take a look at today's Look Who's 8.
Yeah, that's right. So we're going to start with Jessica today. Now, Jessica's turning 8 months old. She loves her big sisters, rolling, and chatting up a storm. So she's quite a talker, it seems like.
Gwen is turning 8 years old today. She loves to read, write, sing, dance, do gymnastics, and ride horses.
Quinn is turning 8 today. He loves baseball, football, fishing, and he can always be found with a big smile on his face. So I like his enthusiasm for sports there, too.
Maybe a future professional athlete one
never
day.
know.
Megan is turning 8 today. She's very energetic, loves cats, unicorns, and the color pink.
Eleanor is turning 8 today. She is very fun, kind, and will definitely brighten someone's day. Beautiful smile there, too.
If you know a special someone turning 8 months, 8 years, 1880, or 88 years old soon, we love to feature them.
That's right. Just upload their photo to our website, news8000.com, and look for that Submit Pictures button underneath the Home tab on our website.
Coming up after the break, we will have Riverfest Media Director DJ Olbreeze in studio to talk to us about the music festival.
Air quality alerts continue across the Cooley region until noon today. So if you're sensitive to this type of stuff, make sure that you spend more time inside, less time outside, because we're still dealing with some of the particulates from the wildfire smoke from Canada that is causing some of those high levels of ozone. So just be aware of that here if you're out and about today. Current temperatures are at 67 degrees now in La Crosse. We're looking at south winds pretty light at 6 miles an hour. Visibility is at 10 miles. Meanwhile, to the north in Eau Claire, 63 is the temperature with clear skies. Visibility at around 7 miles. So good driving conditions there, as you can see, with wind speeds out of the southwest at around 3 miles an hour. Current temperatures mainly stand into the 60s. Some spots, Black River Falls, Spartans of Oakfield into the 50s. We got 66 in Viroqua. Winona, you're currently at 64 degrees. A check now on your planner, 71 degrees at 7 o'clock here with mostly sunny skies. Then we're at 84 degrees, partly cloudy by noon today, followed by a pretty hot day in this afternoon, especially 9 degrees, mostly sunny at 4. 8 o'clock arrives and we drop our temperatures to the low 80s. Still relatively warm though, under partly cloudy skies with our forecast highs today, as you can see there on the map, into the upper 80s. Some spots even reaching the low 90s here come this afternoon, including spots like La Crosse here today. So a check now on the satellite and radar picture showing things are looking quiet. So we're watching a developing system down to the southwest causing some clouds here. We may see some increasing clouds later today, but unfortunately we're just not going to see a whole lot of rain here at all over these next few days. That is not good for our drought monitor. As you can see, a lot of us still under this moderate drought stage. Down to the south, we're under a severe drought, so we'll take any type of rain that we could possibly get. But unfortunately, over these next few days, Sky Tracker is really not showing any rain here moving through. We're watching a developing system down to the south there. That could cause some increasing clouds, but again, it looks like most of the rain is going to stay well to the south of us here today. That could clip portions of our southern zones near Prairie du Chien, however. 8 o'clock this evening, we're looking at those clouds clearing out, so a nice evening here for you tonight with just a few clouds here as we head into overnight. Taking you into early tomorrow morning, a few passing clouds here once again. The same can be said here as we head into this afternoon, with the exception of a few more clouds here developing back to the west and spreading their way east across the area. Here 6 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, you can see the majority of the clouds mainly down to the south. Showers and thunderstorms remain to the south, though, although we could definitely use that rain. It's still going to continue to remain away from us. We'll be on the northern fringe of that storm system, causing some clouds here as we head into your Sunday. And speaking of the rest of the day, Sunday is looking okay. Slight chance of a shower, otherwise mostly sunny skies here to end the weekend. A check now on your 8-day forecast showing that highs will reach those upper 80s and low 90s. It looks like it's going to be a pretty hot 4th of July with that high of 95. A chance of thunderstorms there too. However, better storm chances as we head into Wednesday of next week.
All right, thank you for that, Derek. We'll bust out your buttons because it's time for Riverfest.
Yeah, that's right. Today we have DJ Olbreeze with us to tell us more about the different festivities and what you can expect this year. So welcome. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
So what can people, expect this year? It's a new year, another summer. What's in store?
So this year we have a lot of different events, a lot of music entertainment, and with it being our 40th, we tried to just pack it full this year.
What are some, there's a lot of events. Can you talk about a little bit more in detail about what are some of the new events that we have this year?
So this year we have the U.S. Coast Guard cutter, the Waiaconda, coming down. People can tour that for free. They don't even need a button for that. We have minnow racing. Apparently these are trained minnows that you can race. And we also have a robotics competition one of the days.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Will we see a parade?
Not a parade in the traditional sense, but on July 4th we do have a kids parade.
Oh, cool. What are you most looking forward to this year with all the festivities?
The food.
Yeah, of course, right? What type of food do you think is going to be there?
So we have a Euro guy, we have Taco Bros down there, pizza, We got Sparky Spit, so a little of everything.
The festival is celebrating 40 years. How has it changed since then?
You know, being around it for almost all those 40 years, it's the same, but it's always different events every year. So we try to keep it fresh every single time.
Right. Now this year, the July 4th fireworks are open to the public. What time do they start?
Yeah, so this year on July 4th, we're not requiring a button. So the Quick Trip Chad Erickson Memorial fireworks are at 10 o'clock.
How early should people arrive, do you think?
On the 4th, they should get there pretty early. That's usually our busiest day. Everybody wants to get the best spot in the park to see the fireworks.
You know, we mentioned before the festival is celebrating 40 years. How has it changed throughout the years? And you go way back because you said your father was even part of this.
Right, yeah, so my dad was on the board of directors back in the 80s. I got involved about 8 years ago. And again, we just try to come up with new ideas so that it's not the same thing year after year.
Yeah, and we know this is probably going to be a pretty crowded event because, I mean, who doesn't like fireworks, right?
Right.
So when it comes to parking, sometimes that can be a hassle. So what time would you recommend people to show up, and where can they park as well?
Yeah, I mean, again, get there as early as you can.
Yeah.
There's street parking available. The closest spots to our main entrance are all handicap. And then there's the parking ramps throughout La Crosse.
Okay.
Now, will there be a fee for those parking ramps?
That I'm not entirely sure of.
There will be lots of food options. You know, Derek and I love food. How many food trucks will be there, and are there any new ones?
So all of our food vendors from last year were really happy with our festival, with the crowds. So they all came back this year. It's about 16 food trucks.
Okay, so question for you. So we know that, based on my latest forecast there Tuesday, we only have a slim chance of showers and thunderstorms. So in the event that it does rain or storm, will the event be canceled, and will it be postponed?
So it just depends upon the weather, how severe the weather is. If it's just rain, we're still an event that'll go on because we're rain or shine.
Good.
Now, buttons are required for some of the concerts. Can people buy them in person? Are they required for any of the other events?
So buttons are required for our whole buttoned area, which would be all of our concerts. They can buy them at the main gates or at Area Quick Trip, Hy-Vee, Festival Food Stores, Citizens State Bank, and online.
All right, so we're almost out of time here, so one more question for you. Where can people find more information about this event?
They can find more information at riverfestlacrosse.com or on social media.
All right, perfect. Well, thank you so much for being here with us this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Riverfest kicks off today at Riverside Park, and we will have more news after the break. All right, and welcome back to News 8 Morning News Now. I'm Jeremy Wall. Let's get into some morning buzz this morning. Country singer Kelsea Ballerini is the latest musician to have a concert goer throw objects at her on stage. Ballerini was struck in the face when someone threw a bracelet at her during a performance. In footage posted by concert goers, Ballerini is seen flinching mid-song before she stepped onto stage. The singer issued a statement on Instagram saying she is fine. La Crosse police are continuing to investigate the car crash that happened on South Avenue, and are asking for the public's help. Police are asking anyone who helped the officers at the scene to contact the police department at the number you see on your screen. Authorities say they will release more information about the crash when it's available. Viterbo University has been awarded a grant to expand training for substance use disorder treatments. The $1.4 million grant will let Viterbo work with current health professionals to provide mental health and substance use disorder services in communities that are underserved. Viterbo plans on using the grant to primarily service rural areas in southwestern Wisconsin. School representatives say this is a huge step forward in helping the community.
I mean, opioid addiction is such a huge concern for our community, and our goal is to really take a systems approach to equip people within our community to help solve those needs.
Viterbo also plans on using the grant to train their own facilities so that instructors can include the training in their curriculum. The grant program is set to last for 5 years. The next biennial state budget is one step closer to reaching the governor's desk. The GOP-controlled Budget Committee's draft made it through the Senate and is expected to pass in the GOP majority assembly. Republicans are celebrating the proposed income tax cut of $3.5 billion. One GOP senator says the proposed tax cut would bring relief to all filers and gets the state closer to a flat tax system. He says 2020 census data shows states with a flat tax convince more people to move there.
I think the message is loud and clear. Wisconsin wants to be competitive. We need to ensure that we have a more competitive tax climate. And so the tax cut that we proposed last night touches every single taxpayer in the state of Wisconsin. So we believe it's a step in the right direction.
Democrats argue the state isn't taking advantage of a record one-time $7 billion surplus and that to pay for the tax cut products like UWL's Prairie Springs Science Center and child care become budget casualties. Senator Brad Pfaff says his party agrees with the idea of a tax cut, but not this one.
I do not understand why someone would want to pass a tax reform in the state of Wisconsin in which the top 1% of the tax filers would receive 20% of the benefits.
Once the GOP majority assembly passes the budget, Governor Evers will have about a week to approve, fully veto, or line veto the measure. The worst of politics, that's what the Senate Minority Leader called a Wednesday night decision by Senate Republicans. After the budget vote, Republican senators said the chamber will decide in the future whether to appoint Wisconsin's top official for another term. Tuesday, the bipartisan Wisconsin Elections Commission deadlocked on formally nominating Megan Wolf for a second four-year term. Democrats on the commission said the Senate can't vote on a nomination that never got a majority vote. Senate Democrats are unsure what's going to happen in the interim.
The state Senate, plans, we've been told, potentially bring this up this fall.
Last year, the state Supreme Court ruled that a former Scott Walker appointee could stay in his role indefinitely even after his term expired, and he refused to step down. Democrats argue that ruling should allow Wolf to do the same thing and stay on the Elections Commission. Pfaff says he could expect some lawsuits to come out of the vote. With this hazy air, many are finding it difficult to go about their daily lives. Parks across the state have put their events on pause. Mail carriers are also feeling the heat. One of the leaders for the National Association of Letter Carriers in Milwaukee said he is urging carriers to take breaks to rehydrate when they can, and also said he's worried for some of his carriers.
I would be highly concerned for senior carriers, any carriers with any respiratory issues, anybody that has problems, in the breathing department.
Skronek said that he's hopeful the smoke will clear soon, but says if it persists, it could present a long-term issue for carriers going forward.
And just keep in mind that an air quality alert is still in effect for the Foley region until noon today. So for those of you that may be sensitive to this type of stuff, make sure to limit yourself outside. Try to spend more time inside if you can. Your day planner for today is showing that a mixed clouds and sun will be in the skies here today. A little bit of haze as possible as well with some of that smoke still ongoing. Highs into those mid to upper 80s and light wind here as well. Chances of rain look pretty much slim to none over these next few days. Unfortunately, we do need it though. However, as we head into next week, it's going to be turning pretty hot. Highs in those low 90s for Monday and Tuesday. Our next best chance of thunderstorms looks like Tuesday and then more so into Wednesday of next week.
So we're looking at great weather for not just Riverfest, but July 4th.
Yeah, we'll have to watch out for a slight chance of storms for July 4th, but I think for the most part it should be okay. Like I said, those better storm chances will be the day after 4th of July on Wednesday, so we'll monitor it.
Well, at least we'll have some sunny days.
Yeah, looking pretty good and hot too.
I'll take the heat. Well, thank you so much for tuning in to News 8 Now this morning. We hope to see you again at noon. Thank you, everyone.